Greetings and salutations, welcome back to Critic Reviews. I'm doing a little research on the general opinion of this episode and it's not looking good. Seems I'm the only one that likes this gem of an episode. On the show, I'll be reviewing an episode that is incredibly maligned by many analysts for the very same reason that Magic Duel is. But we'll get into that later on. This episode is Keep Calm and Flutter On. I'm certainly not exaggerating when I say that Keep Calm and Flutter On is my favourite episode of Season 3. And while that doesn't say much about the overall quality of the season, I will say that it's one of my favourite episodes of all time. Speaking of which, I'll be covering my top 7 favourite episodes in a future video, but for now you'll just have to listen to me talk and ramble about ponies. What a magnificent life you guys must lead. So, in this episode, Fluttershy is given the titanic responsibility of reforming the god of chaos to use his magic for good purposes instead of his very nature, which is chaos. If you want a more in-depth explanation of this, go watch Quildink's video about this very topic right at this annotation. And obviously she is successful in this endeavour. But does this episode really do such a plot thread justice? Well, that's what I'm here to figure out today. The main point of this review is to talk about the biggest gripe people have with this episode, and it's the same one that people have with Magic Duel. I don't know whether it's an overuse of the plot point or what, but people really don't seem to like past villains being reformed. But the thing is, Trixie really wasn't reformed at the end of Magic Duel if you really think about it. She's still very egotistical, and that's not going to change anytime soon. Like I said in the last review, she's not evil, so it's kind of difficult to call her a villain per se, and the same can kind of be said for Discord. It really depends on your definition of what evil is. In any case, the scene where Discord is reformed in this episode near the end is one of the best scenes I've seen in the show thus far. What appeals to me is the sudden sobering realisation that he'd lose the one friend he'd ever had. And some might say that this is bad storytelling, but there's got to be more than just sticking to strict rules of storytelling. To fully understand this scene, you have to look at it from more of an emotional standpoint. Discord has been alone and without friends for 1,000 years, but this is the first time a pony has been kind enough to offer their friendship to him. He didn't want to go back to being alone, so he made a conscious decision to reel himself in a bit to keep that friendship. Something I also like heavily about this episode is Fluttershy's characterization as an extremely kind individual. Ostensibly, it shows her to be kind almost to a fault, at the expense of her friends and the potential safety of Equestria. To her friends, it seems as though she's just being a silly and gullible fool. I really can't support this attitude, while it's extremely understandable considering how Discord tried to pull him apart during his last visit. But what Fluttershy is doing is something many people don't exactly understand and expect all the ponies to never do. She forgives him for his past transgressions as long as he promises to be good. It's one of the things that makes Fluttershy such a likeable character, and one of the things that really drew me towards her in the first place. Not only can I relate strongly to her conflict, but the kindness she shows even to the most villainous of people is inspiring to say the least. There's something that really bugged me about Equestria and magic. Take a look at the scene where Twilight tries to find a reforming spell. Think about that for a second. There exists in Twilight's library a spell that can completely change a living, sentient creature's mind. Sound familiar? You guessed it, the Want It Need It spell from Season 2. It makes me wonder about the power magic holds over ponies and why Twilight knows it to begin with. Did she get into the forbidden section of Canterlot Library? Or was there something more devious going on with Princess Celestia? So all in all, this episode is great. You've got another appearance from Discord, some zany humour to go along with it, and an actually mature and developed Fluttershy, which is always good in my books. Anyway, that's my review of Keep Calm and Flutter On. I'm the Ponyville Critic, and thank you for watching.